Hello, everyone. I will try to keep this as brief as possible, but I'd like to set you up for success scorekeeping in the GameChanger app. Let's go ahead and open the app here. For this tutorial, my team will be the ELL Padres. So let's click on the team and it will open up your team page. As I mentioned, you need to be marked as staff in order to scorekeep. If you click here on the Teams tab, you will see the staff members. Ask your manager if you need to be added as a staff member. Let's go back to our schedule here, and we have a game today, the 13th. I'm going to click on the game and show you how to set starting lineups. All right, let's get started by hitting the set starting lineup button here. This is how we add our own team's lineup. We will add players, and you go ahead and click on each player who will be playing that day. The order that you click them in will become the batting order. So let's say Dylan Grimm is batting first. I'm going to click on him first. If Ryan is batting second, I will click on Ryan, and so on. So let's add several players. Anyone who is not playing, you simply leave them unchecked. And when you've selected all the players, go ahead and tap Done on the upper right-hand corner. And there is your lineup. If you need to reorder them in the batting order, you would just hold the 3-line icon on the right, and it will allow you to drag and drop them to a different position in the batting order. If you'd like to set their positions, you can do that here by clicking the EH, and it will let you select their position like so. You can also do that once you start scoring the game. It's a little bit easier, I would say. So if you'd like, you can finish up here by hitting save, and now your lineup is set. Okay, now that we have our lineup set, let's talk about inputting your opponent's lineup. We're going to go ahead and click on Score Game here, and this will bring us into the scoring app. On the bottom here, you have My Team, Opponents, and Plays, which I'll talk about later. But for the time being, let's go ahead and click on the Opponents. So if your opponent is also using GameChanger, the easiest way to get their lineup is to scan it. You see the Scan Opponent lineup here. You will ask them to share their lineup. You click on this button, and you're able to scan their QR code. If the opponent asks for your lineup, you will go to My Team here, and it will give you the option to share team lineup, and just allow them to scan that QR code, and it will zap your lineup into their GameChanger. If your opponent is not using GameChanger, you'll have to manually enter their lineup. So let's go ahead and click on the opponent's roster here. I think that it's important to get at least their jersey number in the lineup. You don't necessarily have to enter their whole name, but it will help you track batting order and so forth if you get their jersey number. Different ways to do it. You can click on the lineup placeholders button and add 10 players if that's how many players they have, 11 players, and so on. And then you can go back and add their jersey numbers. That's one way to do it that works pretty well. And another way to do it is you can just add each player individually, and it will add them to the lineup. So let's hit Create Player. We have, let's say we have number 5 leading off, Bobby. Here we go. And we'll go ahead and add player. So now they've been added to the lineup. We'll create a new player. That's number 8, Johnny. And we'll go ahead and save and add another in this case so we can keep going through the process. And then they will be added to the lineup. In future games, their information will be saved when you play the same team again, so the process should be a little bit easier. Okay, now that we have both teams' lineups inputted, we're ready to start scoring the game. You'll be responsible for scoring when you're the home team, so in those games, you're going to be taking the field first. I do like to set my own team's positions. I think that it makes the stats more accurate. If someone on the team is broadcasting video, it's going to sync up properly. How to set positions from this view is simply click on the position, and then it will let you select the player that's playing there by clicking on their name. If you made a mistake, just simply click on that player's name and you can replace them. So I'll go ahead and mark a couple positions here. As far as the opponent, I don't typically set their positions. I like to set their pitcher and catcher because that's something that's important, that the pitch counter is going to be tracking, so it's nice to have a backup and have those positions assigned. So when it's their turn to take the field, you'll go ahead and do the same process that I just demonstrated to set their positions. All right, I now have all the positions assigned for our team and we're ready to start the game. You're going to be recording the result of every pitch and every ball that gets put in play. It sounds like a lot, but once you get the hang of it, it is really quite intuitive. Every pitch, you'll start here by clicking on the pitch button in the middle of the diamond, and this screen will stay up for much of the time that you're recording the action. If you need to get back to the field for some reason, you just click anywhere on the field and it will close that menu. So let's go back to pitch and I'll show you how to record balls and strikes. You have an option for ball, a called strike, swing or miss. I wouldn't worry too much about called strikes versus swinging strikes, but if you get the hang of it, you can do that. So let's say pitch number 1 is a ball. We'll go ahead and click ball. Pitch number 2 was a swing and a miss. We click swing and a miss. And you'll see the count is right here up top. 1 ball, 1 strike. All right, let's say the next pitch is a swing and a miss. There you go. And the next pitch is a called strike. And you'll notice that it automatically knew that it was a 3rd strike, and now we have 1 out recorded and it's automatically moved to the next batter. If you made a mistake at any point, you simply click the undo button. So let's say on that last strike, the umpire actually called the ball. You go ahead and hit undo. We'll go back to pitch here, and instead we'll assign it a ball. So now it's 2 balls, 2 strikes. Foul ball is right here. Simply click on foul ball. Let's say this person will walk. Ball 3, next pitch is another ball, ball 4, and it will automatically move them to first base as a result of their walk. All right, now Johnny's at bat, and we're going to talk about what happens when a ball is put in play. Let's go ahead and hit the pitch option here to start recording the action. First pitch is a ball. Second pitch, he swings and he puts the ball in play. We'll go ahead and click the blue ball in play here. And the software is going to take you step by step through recording the action. The first menu, you have to say what type of hit it was. Was it a fly ball? Was it a pop fly? And so on. Not super critical. It will show up in the stats and the recording of the action, but don't worry about being super accurate here. Let's say that this example was a ground ball. The next menu, you have to indicate what happened on the play. Was it a single, a double, a triple, and so on. In this case, let's say Johnny got out. So I'm going to go ahead and click the batter out option here. If there was a double play, we can talk about that. But in this case, he got out at first. Once you indicate that the player was out, it's going to go back to the field, and you have to tell GameChanger where the action occurred. In this case, the ground ball went to the shortstop, so you click on the shortstop's mitt there. You can go ahead and click done and be finished with that play, or if you want to show that the shortstop threw the ball to the first baseman, you would go ahead and click on the first baseman's mitt, and at that point hit done, and you will be finished recording that play. you see that an out was added, Johnny was eliminated at first base, and the software automatically moved Bobby to second base. Let's take this opportunity to talk about the base runners. The way you move base runners is by holding the blue tile and dragging them to a base. So in this play that we just talked about, let's say Bobby got aggressive and he took third base on the play. You would go ahead and drag him towards third base. Once you hover over the base, it will give you the option, was he safe or was he out? So let's say he was safe. It does give you some options about how did he advance. Again, not super critical. This will show up in the stats and the play description, but just do your best. I would just say on last play here, he went to third base. All right, now we have player A up, batting third in the lineup. We still have one out, and Bobby's on third. Let's record the first pitch. Player A swings and puts the ball in play on the first pitch. He hits a line drive. And let's say in this situation, he got a single. I'm going to go ahead and select single. And it's basically asking me where that ball was hit to. I'll say that it was hit to Mr. Lawson over here. Now you see the software put player A on first, which makes sense because it was a single, and then it automatically advanced Bobby to home plate and is asking us if he was safe, out, or we can put him back on third base. If he didn't run for whatever reason, you will go ahead and click the back button and he'll go back to third base. Out and safe, pretty self-explanatory. Let's say he was safe here. Now you can see that the score has been updated and our opponents are winning 1-0 at this point. Okay, from here I think the best way to learn is simply use the practice game mode, go through a couple of hypothetical scenarios in your mind and enter them into GameChanger. You will catch on pretty quickly. But let's talk about two more things, errors and a fielder's choice. So it's up to you how harsh you want to be in terms of judging whether it was an error or a hit. But I'll show you how to do that in the software. Here's player B is batting. They put the ball in play. Let's say it's a fly ball and a blatant error on the right fielder. We will go ahead and hit error. It's now going to the field so we can indicate where that ball went. So I will tap on the right fielder and click done. And now player B has been put on first base. Player A has moved to second base. Again, as long as the score is correct, the outs are correct, it doesn't really matter whether you gave player B a single or you gave Mr. Lawson an error. Now let's talk about fielder's choice. So a fielder's choice is when the batter reaches base because a fielder chose to attempt to make a play on one of the other runners. Whether or not they got one of the other runners out, it's still considered a fielder's choice. So let's walk through that. We have two runners on base, one out. We'll do ball one, called strike, strike two. And now player C hits the ball in play. The ball is a ground ball and he's not out, but the shortstop threw the ball to third base and got the runner who's on second out. So that's a fielder's choice. I will go ahead and click on fielder's choice, and now I have the opportunity to record the play. I'll click on the shortstop who threw over to the third baseman, and now I click the done button, and the software is going to now ask me, were those players who advanced to the other bases safe or out? In this case, we're going to say that player A got out at third base. And now we have to tell the software whether the player B who advanced to second base was out or safe. In this case, they were safe. So that is the fielder's choice. Anytime the batter reaches a base because the fielder chose to attempt a play on one of the other runners, you'll start with that fielder's choice option and you'll tell the software if the runners were safe or out. I hope that makes sense. Okay, last but not least, I want to show you how to manually end an inning, or a half inning, I should say. With minor A and minor B, there's a 5-run maximum per inning. So if the team scores 5 runs, even if there's 1 out or 2 outs, you're going to manually end the inning. So let's show an example here. I'm going to go ahead and say player D walks on 4 pitches. Now the base is loaded. Player E is up to bat. And on the first pitch, they swing. They hit a towering fly ball. And it's a home run. Amazing. I'm going to click on center field. And all 4 of those runs scored. As you can see, our opponents are now crushing us 5-0. And we need to end the inning. How you do that is go ahead and click menu, and there's an option to end half inning right here. Every time an inning ends, whether you did it manually or 3 outs were recorded, it's going to prompt you with some information here. You can see the number of runs, hits, pitches, and so on. The most important thing is that the number of runs was correct for the inning. If something got off, at this point, you're going to want to hit cancel and try to work backwards and figure out where you went wrong. In our case here, 5 runs were scored. We're ready to accept and switch. And now the software has us ready to bat. We can set the opponent's positions if we want. We'll definitely set their pitcher, as we talked about. Bobby will be pitching here. So we've set Bobby, and we'll set the catcher. That way we can help out our pitch counter if they lose track of pitches and so forth. All right, last but not least, I wanted to show you how you check the pitch count. Presumably you've been recording every pitch. You go ahead and click on the pitcher's name up here, and it will give you the option to view pitch counts, spray charts, etc. Click on view pitch counts, and it will show you both your pitchers and your opponent's pitchers and their pitch count. So if your pitch counter gets lost and they need a double check, you can work together to get back on track. All right. And then another thing I wanted to show was the plays feature down here. If you're trying to reconstruct an inning, if someone's arguing whether there's 1 or 2 outs, you can click on the plays menu down here, and you will just see all the action that unfolded. And the nice thing about the way GameChanger works is it really forces you to record every play, every out. Once you get the hang of it, it's really easy to stay on track with outs, runs, and things like that. All right, well, I hope this has helped. If you have any questions, I'll make myself available, and I'll be at the fields plenty to help you out. All right, thanks everyone. Bye-bye.